Sometimes I come into this relatively prepared. Sometimes I'm completely unprepared, but I'm aware of it. I'm aware of my lack of preparation, and then I can account for it in this thing. And then sometimes I am just not prepared in ways I don't even know that I'm not prepared. And I look at the countdown and it says 20 seconds. Click here to go live. And all of a sudden I go, oh shit. I realize what I'm forgetting. Scramble to do it. Tonight it was a couple things. One of them was hooking up the Ethernet cable. So hopefully the stream does not interrupt. We've had like tornado warnings around here tonight, and Ida is kind of the remnants of what was Hurricane Ida, which wreaked havoc on the Gulf Coast, has come through, or is coming through now, or has been coming through the past 24 hours or so. And it's been, uneventful, but a lot of alerts coming to my phone, which, let's check that. Make sure that is on airplane. Make sure that's on airplane mode. Because it makes some interesting digital noise that sounds like this. It actually sounds cooler than that. What does it sound like? It's got a money sound. Oh, that's actually pretty close. Makes it sound kind of like that. But it's not money. It's digital noise. And money is analog noise. Good evening, everybody. Cheers. I'm doing it. Opening the Coke over the mixer. Dumbest thing you could do. You envy that carbonation. You wish you could be that carbonated. You can't. You'd be dead. It wouldn't go well. Sometimes you think you want something, and it's better that you don't get it. All right. So, I was unprepared for a bunch of crap tonight. Last minute. Throwing the lights up. Oh, God. My hair is doing something funny. My eyes ache. My phone was not in airplane mode. But it's okay because I have my copy of Gateways to Abomination by Matthew Bartlett, which you can pretty much turn to any page. And this literally was just opening to a page here. Yesterday at twilight in Haydenville, the town constable reported the sound of a child singing a ribald song and saying macabre things deep in the sodden forest. Further exploration revealed a circle of moldering mahogany and leather chairs entwined in the high treetops, and a charred bassinet stuck halfway into an ancient oak. Just a little glimpse of the kind of, it's sort of a cross between Night Vale and Local 58 and the Twilight Zone and, a bunch of stuff, like snippets. It's not really an anthology. It's like snippets of things that you might find in a sort of bizarro world. It's good. I like it. I will say, I like it, but I really, really like the cover. It's hard to see this, but it says down there, it's Occult Books. A diabolical witch cult holds sway. Fun. Say hi to everybody. Nasha, I'm so glad that Nasha's back. Nasha was not showing up for a little while. And now Nasha is showing up. Who knows when Nasha will disappear again. So my advice to all of you is enjoy the presence of Nasha while you can. Miza, how are you doing? Miza, God damn it. Q, of course. Pavi hopes we're not going to discuss politics tonight. Well, one can hope. I was supposed to change this, wasn't I? Hard to read. Well, at least I'll make it a little bigger. Let's see. How's that? Don't disappear when I'm doing stuff. Oh, Nasha, you're being flooded. So, not having quite that big a problem. There is water in the basement. It's a negligible amount. Nasha, I hope that you're okay. Lirio, hi, how are you doing? Oh, Chels is here. Chels, I hope you're feeling okay. It's good to see you. If you feel you should be sleeping, and perhaps you should be sleeping. Okay, so I wasn't sure if you wanted to disclose the fact that you had COVID or not. Some people, it's your own business, so I didn't want to just assume, right? But clearly, you're stating it for all to hear. Don't go away yet. You have cookies that are useless to you as you can't bloody taste them. Cookies are like half textural though, right? So you can... No, they're not. The smell. The taste. Is it really like gone? Like is it... I mean, obviously I've heard people say this, but gone, or is it like things that were salty don't taste so salty anymore? You need to add like twice as much pepper to something. Or is it like gone? Repulsion. What do I mean by repulsion? Okay, well, I'll get into this in a second. Larry. Hi, Elxie. Go down real quick. I'm going down quick. So if I miss you, I'm sorry. Stupermundi, hello. Hi, Warp Raven, and bye, Warp Raven. What do we have here? Ooh, a change in your job role. That's exciting. Good luck. If today's topic were sausage, it would be a very short show. Just noticed something. Oh my God. This is really not smart. Where the hell is it? Where is my Erebus Adora overlay, logo overlay? Is this it? It's not it. Those are the legs of a very skinny man. Certainly he's probably super skinny. He's probably got like a bird chest and arms like me, right? No, he doesn't. He's freaking huge from the waist up. So bizarre. Like, wouldn't his legs just naturally get bigger just from supporting all that bulk? I would think so. I'm wrong. Like I often am. I can't find the freaking watermark to go on the freaking screen, which means I probably removed it because nope. It ain't that. It ain't this. Is it this? Maybe it's this. Maybe I could leave this up. This could be the new watermark for the entire I'm going to call these webisodes because I think that's a really annoying appellation. It's very pretentious. And I want to be stereotyped. I want to be classified. And I don't want to grow up. And, well, tonight we may just, I don't know how we're going to get through, but we may just have to do without the logo. Here it is. Just as I was saying that. Bam. Right there. Okay, good. It's locked. Yes, it's locked. Okay. Let's get on with the show. LQ, hi. KJ Bervin, hello. LQ does not at all want to. Literally, while that was going on, I was plugging the Ethernet cable in. So I apologize for the longer than normal intro, but I just was not prepared. Hi, Nick. Hi, Ramona. Hi, Victor. I'm just calling you Victor from now on until you correct me. But you're gonna have to correct me phonetically. Tornado warnings. I don't know. If I were living in the Midwest, tornado warnings would be much more ominous. It's a good point, Q, but I'm doing it anyway. I do have several Alexas throughout the house, outside of this room, so I'll know, even with my phone in airplane mode. But excellent point. Pretty dumb for me to do that. Okay. Let's get down to the bottom because I want to do something. Laren Lee. Hi. Victoria True. I remember you now, Victoria. I don't think I remembered you last time. But you weren't new. But I remember you. But now I remember you. So it only takes a few. This is a very regional joke, Charles. What the heck is John Lewis? Is it like Dwayne Reed? What are we supposed to think? This is a pharmacy, John Lewis. I don't know. Politics? Is it going to be politics? Oh man, so really? So it had to be as extreme as mouthwash for you to get any sort of sense of it. It's kind of amazing. Imagine if it was a different sense. Imagine if it took your sense of hearing. That'd be scary, wouldn't that? At least you could taste mouthwash, though. And Laren Lee confirming, anecdotally, of course, but good enough for me. I didn't read the jokes, Mesa, but I did say sausage, as in not a sausage. Okay, I don't know what. No, I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. Echomancer, hi. Whoa. Oh, yes, changing the font. Well, I changed the size. You want me to change the font? Fine. Let's see if I can find papyrus. Something nice and... Oh, this is an annoying font. How's that? It's an annoying font. Oh, Victoria, you just had a baby. Congratulations. How's that going? How are you able to be concentrating on anything else, really? I would argue, Nasha, that eating with your senses is tedious. Fake coffee. How are you doing? This font's better? Okay, I'll stick with it. I got a bunch of stuff I wanted to talk about tonight, and I want to talk, with people. I don't want to just talk on my own. So if you have stuff you'd like to talk about, or you want to chime in on the sort of general theme of repulsion, let's call it the overstepping, Texas overstepping once again in the most bizarre ways. Like Texas is so, I see everybody, well, the common way of thinking about Texas in the U.S. is it's just sort of an extreme version of the other states, right? It goes all the way in both ways, right? Like it goes all the way to the right in the majority if you're looking at like landmass, but also has Austin, right, which is like really, really left. And I mean, their slogan is "Keep Austin Weird," which I don't know. If you have to sort of proclaim your weirdness from a soapbox like that, maybe you're not as weird as you think you are. You just wish that you were weird. But anyway, so Texas what's strange to me about Texas is, among other things, one is how big it is. It's very, very big. How much Matthew McConaughey loves it. He loves it a lot. Matthew McConaughey is Texas, and Texas is Matthew McConaughey. And then politically, it's just, yeah, and yes, if I'm going to be classified, I will be classified as being, what would be considered the radical left. And totally fine with that. And I admit there's tons of hypocrisy on both sides. And what really gets me about this, though, is, this is all over the place. I hate saying shit like this, like it's like my insight or something. This is not my insight. Everybody knows this, but I'm repeating it anyway because I have to fill time. Because the dulcet tones of my voice, I can't just make noises. I have to say words and form reasonably coherent sentences, even through lines and thoughts and themes and, good God forbid, entire topics with introductions and sort of discussions and then resolutions and all kinds of internal structure. And it just seems like I'm just kind of talking off the cuff, but really in my head I'm doing all these things like Bobby Fischer did chess move computations while playing with Legos and plotting the demise of the United States. But so the reason that is right. So Texas is kind of like, I guess it's a bellwether, right? So people can look at Texas and they can kind of exclude it and say, yeah, that's the way it is in Texas because it's Texas. But I think it's definitely like a big warning flare, right? And so here's the base hypocrisy that, frankly, like both sides of the political spectrum in the U.S. have, but it's much more egregious, in my opinion, on the left, on the right. Sorry, if only because of its repercussions and basically different groups of people suffer inadvertently. Let's put inadvertently in quotes. Because the stated goal of these policies is not, it's like an off-label effect of a prescription medication, right? Like they have, here's why you're supposed to take it. It also does this, right? So if it also does this, sucks, and really, really hurts a particular group of people, you might need to reconsider whether or not it's worth it to take something, even if it is really, really good at curing your headache, if it, causes flagrant, painful pustules to cover 90% of your body, you may need to go looking for another headache remedy. So, abortion in Texas now, let me be sure I've got this straight. Please keep me honest. 6 weeks. 6 weeks from conception. Which, for many, I'm not going to speak for women, but I think for most, that is often not enough time to even know that you're pregnant. So by the time you find out you're pregnant, let's say the intended consequence was, we don't want to kill fetuses because they're humans and they have rights and we don't want to kill them. This is the on-label use of this prescription. No, don't kill the fetuses. They're people. They're people. Now, of course, the hypocrisy lies in giving rights to fetuses with a cluster of brain cells more resembling sort of brain stem, if that, and not giving rights to, say, refugees from Afghanistan or people trying to cross the border, any immigrant, basically. But so that's the and this was right, this was the horror of the Trump presidency, although I'm not trying to be nice to Trump here in any way. Really, like any Republican, it's not like if it had been a traditional Republican in office for the last 4 years, we still would have had 3 right-wing judges put on the United States Supreme Court. The wonderful Justice Kavanaugh. He's throwing keggers every night just outside the Supreme Court on the steps. It's like he tailgates the Supreme Court. Neil Gorsuch, of course, he's very tall. He stands very upright. He looks distinguished. He looks like he might know something. And that's the danger. And Amy Coney Barrett, who I don't know. It's like her religion and her past policy choices. God, what is going to take precedence in her mind when this inevitably ends up before the Supreme Court again? So, 6 weeks, right? Oh, wait, hold on a second. When a heartbeat is detectable. Okay. So how is this enforced, right? Like, so you go in and you realize you're a couple weeks late on your period. I mean, you could be a week late or 2 weeks late, right? And you could be in this state where you already have a lima bean-sized parasite growing inside you that has a detectable heartbeat. Or you might go to a physician who decides that they hear a heartbeat. Or like, how much of this is left to the discretion of the obstetrician or the physician who performs the D&C? I'm not 100% clear on that. But it seems to me like it's just not enough time. It doesn't account for anything. It doesn't account for circumstances at all. Context means nothing, which is nuts. Context should mean absolutely everything. We make calls about life and death every day. Every day, the government makes calls about life and death every day. People are taking ivermectin who wouldn't go near the vaccine with a 10-foot pole, even though it was developed under Trump, and even though I do think it's kind of grimly humorous, he recommended getting the vaccine and was booed by his own constituency because he has created the golem. He instructed it to attack the Capitol January 6th. And now it exists out there in the form of this very, very much non-silent, slim minority. I don't know how slim. We'll probably find out next year. We'll definitely find out next year. State-enforced pregnancy birth is probably the most accurate way to phrase it, and just ruffles the feathers of so-called libertarians. What, I'm not sure what you're saying there, Nick. I mean, I understand, right? So it's essentially, if you get pregnant, the United States government is saying you gotta carry the child to term. It ruffles the feathers of libertarians. Maybe I missed some context there. Context matters. So there we go. Right. Yes, we have to learn how to phrase stuff in a way that we get the shit end of the stick often on the left, because we're not always that great about framing our arguments in ways that are because we tend to care more about logic and dare I say it, compassion for our fellow human beings than being pithy and having a good slogan that can be chanted whilst carrying tiki torches and gathering around statues of Confederate soldiers. It's a lot of fun. Oh. I'm giving you some amazing profile views. Do you mean profile like that? There's no way this is ever going to be an amazing profile view. Like that. That's a League of Gentlemen. Which obviously was way into 3-word chant. 3-word chant. We're saying a thing. We're saying a thing. Yes, and I realize, right, like what is liberal in the U.S. may actually be conservative, right, in some places. And I see the world through this rather myopic lens, and I'm aware of that, and I apologize for it, and yet I do it. But so anyway, it's horrible if Roe v. Wade gets overturned. This was something that was trumpeted back when all of the Supreme Court justices were being touted and confirmed. The irony of someone like Brett Kavanaugh being able to have say over what anyone, but particularly women, people who carry children, particularly what those people can do to their bodies. It's particularly ironic, as he has been accused of all kinds of just college shenanigans. It's just hanging with his friends Bud and Chad, and pretty sure that's it. They're all named Bud or Chad. All right, let's see. Before I move on, let's see if anybody want to talk about this. It's a lot of fun. I'm telling you, it is a blast. Oh, my package will arrive tomorrow. Oh, we have a sucker. We got a sucker. Let's see. Let's do this again. By the way, I've been trying to get into Psychonauts 2. Some of you might be aware that I live streamed it the other night. But there's something I'm going to give it another chance. I'm not going to stream it, though. There's something very frustrating about its control scheme. It feels very non-responsive and old, really, and cheap. It feels cheap. Like, just the responsiveness. I'm not talking, the writing seems to be top-notch. I like the art style, good enough. But the feel of it is just so off, and I'm probably spoiled by, games that can afford to have, a dozen gameplay designers and people who are strictly going in there to make sure that every single motion, everything that you do with that controller is translated into something that makes you really feel connected with the avatar you're playing on screen. Psychonauts 2 does not have that. It's more like a telegraph system. Like I'm pushing forward. I don't have my controllers in here, do I? And sending some kind of Morse code to the PlayStation in the hopes that Raz will move forward or jump at the appropriate time. It's not there for me. So I don't want to stream it because it's frustrating for me when it's frustrating for you. And it's better for me to be alone with my frustrations, because I'm sure that I'll enjoy the game, once I'm into it. So anyway, coming on to what are we going to discuss? What are we going to discuss, mystery person? What do you want to discuss? If you wanted to, I can't hear you, but if you want to discuss political views, can you hold up the number 1? Hold up one finger. Oh, they want to discuss politics. All right, let's bring them in and see what happens. It's gonna be insane. You all know them as I always say your name wrong, so I'm just gonna bring you on, and you can correct me, and then we can get into it about conservatives and liberals. It is May.
Hello.
Hi, May. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Can you hear me okay?
Can hear you perfectly. You're in
Oh,
stereo. The image is great. I mean, something's got to go wrong here, or it just wouldn't be on brand. But for now,
you said my name wrong. I have a story about my name and people in America. I didn't know my name was pronounced differently when I went to other places. So I went to the US when I was 15, and I typed my name for the ET ride to say my name, and it said "Bye Mesa," and I was shocked because I couldn't recognize my name.
wait, it said what?
Bye, Mesa. They
By
didn't say
me?
my name right. Bye. Bye. Goodbye,
Right.
Mesa. And me like, Mesa? What?
Oh,
Maisa is my name.
Maisa.
Yes. But you
Okay.
can call me May. When I lived in China, people called me May. I lived 3 years there. So I'm used to it.
How long ago did you live in China?
3 years.
No, how long ago?
Oh, how long ago? 16 years ago, I think.
Oh,
Or
wow.
15.
So quite a while.
Yeah.
And you were there for 3 years? Were you there? Wait, you weren't there for 9/11. So this was after
No,
9/11.
no, it was after 9/11. I was in Brazil in 9/11, and I remember visiting my mom and not understanding what was happening on the TV. And then I went home. I had an RPG game with my friends. I'm not play.
A tabletop.
Yeah, tabletop RPG with a lot of friends. And then when we went to have breakfast, someone went out to get the bread, and then they brought back a newspaper saying, "A punch on the face breaks the teeth of the empire," with the picture of the double,
A
of the
punch on the
on the
face
face breaks the
breaks
teeth of
the
the
teeth of the
teeth.
empire.
Yeah, and I was so damn shocked. It was very crazy. These are the radical left. You were awesome.
Well,
These are the radical left here in Brazil. But I was very shocked. I remember looking at that and going, what? That that was what I was saying, what I was seeing yesterday, and I was super shocked.
yeah.
But it made me start watching American news and American politics, and it's why my English is so good. That and wrestling.
Wrestling. What did you watch the Jake Paul, Tyron Mosley fight?
No, I only watch SmackDown now because I can't take WWE anymore as I used to. I watched in the 90s, and I remember punching my brother because he was a fan of Shawn Michaels. I do
I don't
remember
know who any of
that.
these people are.
Yeah, I beat him. Uh, he was like
Where does the
a
Undertaker fit
male
in?
stripper.
To,
Oh, he was my. Yeah, Shawn Michaels was kind of a male stripper, like singing he was a sexy boy toy, and something. So my brother said I like him, and I punched him. I said, no, this is not a good role model for you.
was it a good solid punch?
Oh, I was trying to emulate those guys in the ring. It wasn't nice.
It's interesting what you said though about so like how different countries perceived the 9/11 attacks. So right, so the paper that you're describing seems like it was perceiving it as America as the imperialist, colonialist, finally getting a little bit of its own back, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
there there's a spectrum, a lot of people said, wow, this is something huge, and this is bad for the image of the United States. But there were the crazy people who said, yay, imperialistic assholes getting. I was very sad, actually. I didn't like that newspaper, but I remember it as it was yesterday.
yeah, and so I am like ambivalent about 9/11. I wasn't, for quite a long time afterwards, and really nobody who lived in the U.S. basically was. It was pretty much like everyone was like, we got to go kill somebody, right? Like there needs to be retribution for this. We don't really care if it's the people who did it or not necessarily, but something needs to be done. So there were very few, like the political will was just there to do whatever the heck we wanted. And we decided to go into Afghanistan. Osama bin Laden was in Pakistan, but there were some legitimate reasons to go into Afghanistan. I don't think that most people, I'm not talking about myself here, but I don't think that most people think that it was wrong necessarily for us to do something in Afghanistan. I think that what most people are saying is that we shouldn't have been there for 20 years. We should have been making promises and sort of lulling the Afghanis into this kind of sense of security, this false sense of security, and then pull the rug out from under them, right, by leaving. There was a band that I liked very much a couple years after 9/11, who the lyric they had referring to 9/11 was something about delivering matching funeral urns to the bully who never learns. And, on one side, I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, killing civilians is not the way to get stuff done. But also, there was the part of me that I was like, we created this situation. If we just want to treat symptoms for the rest of our existence, then we're going to keep going in this kind of circle over and over again. If we don't address the core reasons why people are angry about the things that we do in the world, legitimately angry, we're just creating new generations of what we will call terrorists, but in their mind, they're freedom fighters, right? To some of these people, they are, the majority of them, they're completely convinced that what they're doing is for the greater good of the world, right? They're not thinking about America or even necessarily their country, right? So it's hard for me because I feel like basically what we did by pulling out of Afghanistan as precipitously as we did, although I'm glad that we did it, in the way that we did it was we created a bunch of people who 10 years from now or a dozen years from now are going to want to extract revenge in some way, regardless of, the sort of Western propaganda that they may or may not buy into. If their parents were killed, if, their siblings were killed, if they were if they were promised protection and it was rescinded at the last moment, what could your reaction be? And then the other thing is, right, and I'm sorry, I'm going to stop talking after I'm saying a minute, but if you're
what I think is the issue here is that the U.S. couldn't build a real safe government.
Right.
Probably because the people who were put in the government were westernized people. They were not really local figures, not a lot of them. I was reading about that and I was kind of shocked because there was a disconnect. Some historians and some people who studied said that there was a disconnect, and that's why it didn't take root, the new government. And that's why it took so many years to try to get something and it failed.
Well, but I agree, right? I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've only read what everybody else has read pretty much, right? Like I haven't.
But I think that's the issue, that's the main issue. You guys, the U.S. tried and failed. And now the Taliban is more organized than ever, and they really want to have it's a different group. It's a completely different group. It's stronger now. It's more articulated.
It's a new Taliban.
Yes, it's more into politics. They were talking to represent to people representing other countries, like diplomats. This is something else. It's not the same group of people they fought 20 years ago, It's
exactly
completely different.
But there are some things that hold true that I think we kind of like feign outrage out at, or it might be genuine outrage, but I don't think we have cause to be outraged by it. And that is, or particularly what I'm talking about here is when you are in a position of power, you might establish, say, rules of engagement or rules of war or the Geneva Convention or whatever it is. And inevitably, like the things that you choose as, there's going to be, I'm not saying it's all or nothing, right? There's going to be some like, it's really inhumane to use, mustard gas or whatever. These are things that like yeah, maybe chemical weapons aren't a great thing for anybody to use. But generally, what's going to be like on the sort of side of, hey, this is frowned upon, this goes against the rules of war, are going to be things that we choose, like the powerful choose and decide that things that might be more open to smaller groups of the disenfranchised, and this applies on like every level of government in the United States, at least, not just war, right? Among our civilian population as well. Basically, like, if you're poor, whether you're a country or whether you're a civilian, you have access to things, to ways of combating things that are stronger than you, whether they're systems or people or whatever it is, right? Those things are the things that tend to be the first on the list of, well, you can't do this. Like, don't do this. No, everybody in the world agrees, don't do X, Y, or Z. What you can do is you can do a giant organized military invasion with hundreds of thousands of troops, and everyone can be nice, and it can be seemingly bloodless, or we can cover up the bloodshed as much as possible. But if you're like a 98-pound kid on the beach and a 195-pound guy comes up to you, bristling with muscles, and is like, let's fight. And you're like, okay, I'm going to kick that guy right where it counts. And then he says, well, wait a minute, there's no kicking where it counts. You gotta fight by the rules, right? Which is,
there's no honor in this case. I know.
Right, but that's
people are not thinking about this. People are thinking about their integrity, their physical integrity, not really honor. So yeah, people just go for the.
But that's what I'm saying. Like what do we
Yeah.
expect? Like this idea of honor in war is a charade in order to sort of give us the upper moral hand whenever somebody attacks us in a way that hurts us, but they do it in the way available to them. It's the same thing with Israel and Palestine, right? Whenever you see like these kind of, basically whenever it's the group of people who are not in power and who therefore maybe don't have like these super accurate laser guided bombs that can purportedly target non-civilian targets, and they do something and they end up killing some civilians, which is obviously wrong and should not happen. But if it's their only method of getting what they see as like their road to a better world, what are they supposed to do? Like their only alternative is to not do anything, and they're not going to do that, especially if they're zealots, right? So I don't know. It feels a little rigged. The game feels quite rigged to me. Then we can kind of just take the moral high ground whenever we get our nose bloodied in a situation like this. But I am curious, May. So in Brazil, what is the political spectrum like relative to America, as far as you can tell? Like, what?
I love that you guys talk about the left, but you guys have no left. But at least compared to us, Uh, 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 it's funny because there's left and right, and there's conservatives and liberals in both areas. So there are people from the left who are conservatives, who believe in big state and paying in having uh, benefits from the government, like healthcare,
the-
and
Those are
all
like
of these
physical
things.
conservatives, right? Are you talking about
Yeah,
like
but
they're
not
physically
really
conservative,
fiscal.
but they're
But not fiscal. Like we believe in a big state. We believe because that's the left. That's the left, right? We believe the state, big one. We pay taxes and they give us everything. That's the left here. And we have universal health care, for example. And the government is trying to break it down so they can stop giving it away. And it's an issue here. But and there are people who believe in less state and no taxes, and everything should be paid for, um, and that's what we consider our right. And we still have the people who are socially conservative and or socially uh, liberal, like gay marriage, abortion. These all fall into the social spectrum. and it's kind of
W-
crazy.
Are you saying
It's kind of
socially
crazy.
conservatives in Brazil are are pro gay marriage and pro?
No, no, they're against. They can
Okay,
be like, we agree with big state, but we don't. We're on the left. We agree with the big state. We want everything, but we don't want gays to get married or women to get abortions.
okay. So they're
And
socially conservative and
yeah,
fiscally liberal.
yeah. No, I think it's the.
Did I get that the opposite way?
I think yeah, but because it's a mix. You have the full
Right.
the full spectrum, like from the left to the right, from liberal to conservative. So you can have people believing in big state and free healthcare and not wanting gay marriage. That's
Right.
the main issue we're having right now in Brazil, is that the far right people are using the image that all the people on the left are socialists, communists who want to kill your baby and gay marry everybody. And I always like to say this: if you're not gay, you are not invited to marry someone of your damn gender. I get so angry about this because people talk about abortion like it's a free bar. You're gonna wake up someday and go like, "Yay! I'm gonna have 3 abortions and two
Yeah,
gay
exactly.
marriages,"
Like
and
it's just a
it's
wonderful process, and we can't wait to have more abortions. That's a lot of
yeah,
fun.
I love it. I mean, I said that in the chat, and it is still a big thing for me. I got pregnant and I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I don't have my periods every month. Okay?
So you
It
could
doesn't
not know you
happen.
were pregnant until you
I
were
didn't. I
ah
didn't until I was 5 months old. My
five
baby is
months.
18. Yeah, my baby is 18. I'm fat. So I didn't have a lot of changes. Just I'm sorry, this is a bit explicit, but just my belly and my boobs changed shape, and I went to the doctor saying this is kind of weird, and then he put the thing in my belly, and I heard their heartbeat. Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, what's gonna happen to me now?
That must have
And
been so frightening. So you went in there with that wasn't even a was that even like a thought in your mind at that time? Like were you like, is it possible that I'm pregnant, or you just weren't
I
even
didn't want to paint my hair because I thought I
okay? So
could
you it wasn't a total
remotely be
surprise.
pregnant. It was a surprise, but I started thinking I could be pregnant 15 days before.
Got it.
So it was a surprise, but I thought, no, it's not get no, it's not that.
And what is the law there, or what was the law there at the time?
No abortions, and even if you I'm sorry, I'm sing-songing because it's so ironic because it's kind of crazy here because of the whole religious climate. Okay. um, um, how can I say that? This is such a horrible place that if you were raped, you can get an abortion by law. You can go and then you get an abortion. There was a 13-year-old girl, a 12-year-old girl who was raped, who asked for an abortion, who got the right in time, and the political protesters found out where she was, and went to the hospital to protest. So this is the kind of climate we have here. We have these
That's
kind of
not that
people.
different from what would happen here. I mean, maybe not quite exactly in that circumstance. How do they prove? Like, does rape have to be proven, or do you like? Does it have to be legally? Someone has to be legally convicted of rape in order for you to get an abortion.
I think you gotta prove you got raped, not the person get like.
Okay,
And you always have to prove rape, sailor. And even if it happened, you have to prove it twice. Actually, I'm laughing because it's nuts. It's something that makes me so angry. I cannot stop making jokes about it and,
I
and, and pointing the ironies because it makes me nuts. I mean, these people who go protest, they say we are all by the law, and then they protest the law. that's what makes me insane, you know?
So if I would be considered a sort of moderate in Brazil, is that correct? So as a pro-abortion, um, pro-gay rights, pro-government programs,
Do
pro-universal
you
health
want free?
care.
Yeah, so you would be with me.
So
But
what is that
yeah,
considered? Is that
it's a lefty. I'm sorry, I just remembered the names they call us in Portuguese, but I can't explain to you because it's not funny when translated. But you're a commie. People would call
okay?
you a communist,
Okay.
and I hate that. I hate that because I'm not remotely. I was at some day. I thought that force could make people behave, but I'm older now, and I understand that not really. So I'm kind of socialist. I believe in in welfare state, and but when a crazy right wing guy says something, I sing the international, and I try to look as communist as I can just to make them angry, But I don't. I'm not. I'm not. And it's
Well,
it's kind of crazy here. People are, or there's one thing that people don't know about Brazil. We have our own brand of fascism, called integralismo, and
can you say that
I
once more?
think integralismo. These guys believed in this kind of, like, the Indian is the pure Brazilian, and they choose uh, like words from native languages to greet themselves, but it's all fascism, just another brand of fascism. They use an epsilon and green shirts. We in the past we called them the green chicken, but they are resurging. It's
Would that
kind of
be
crazy
pollo
because
verde? Is that pollo verde?
y-
Is it
galinha verde. It's
galinha?
Portuguese, not, yeah,
Oh
not
right. Okay. All right.
Spanish. So, yeah, yeah, galinhas verdes, and we used to call them that in history books, and it's kind of crazy because they are resurging too, and the neo Nazis are resurging, and we are very shocked because we're not a white nation, you know, and it's kind of crazy to see people who are not white professing, you know, these things.
Yeah.
It's
There's a bit of that here too. I guess it's probably not as marked as it would be there, but yeah, I mean we have the Proud Boys here, right? There are a lot of like alt-right or extreme right groups that are, I mean they're authoritarian by any other name. Um, so I guess when I think of, I don't know how to put this. Um, would you say that? What would you say the effect of Trump's presidency was on Brazil? Did it embolden
oh
those kinds of groups?
Jesus.
Oh boy, what did I just do?
Okay, I gotta tell you a few things. First, the words that come to my mind right now are not entirely PG-13, so I will ask
Go for
for
it.
a second before saying anything. But there's this long love for the U.S. and Brazil. It's the whole cultural domination, you
Right.
know. So there's this long love, and it seems our president actually touched himself to the thought of the U.S. because
Wait,
it's
what?
crazy. It seems that he touched himself to the thought of the U.S.
You're
because
saying
it's crazy.
metaphorically, not
Yeah,
literally.
no, because
Okay.
it's crazy. He would, like, everything Trump did, he would do. You know, even the damn medicine and not using the mask and saying the same stuff. Oh, I forgot how to say it. Saluting the American flag. The dude saluted the American flag. My president saluted the American flag.
And that went over okay? Like people were okay with that? That doesn't seem.
People, yes, the right wing people, they love the U.S. so much. They went all like, oh, this is good, USA, and me like, Jesus in Christ, what is happening with my country? And what makes it worse, the cherry on the top of the cherry pie. Um, Biden sent some people to talk to our president, and he said that Trump was robbed to the government
So
officials.
to the
The
Biden
US.
emissaries that were sent,
Yes.
he told them
Yes.
Trump was robbed.
It's a lovely country, and it's a lovely, lovely guy.
This is
Not just-
Bolsonaro?
Yeah.
And what is Bolsonaro's political life expectancy? Is there an election around the corner? Is there?
Okay. Now we got into the rabbit hole.
Oh, boy.
Hole. Yeah.
Don't tell me he's going to do like a Putin.
No, but he's trying to do the same that Trump did. He's trying to rail everyone to close or oh God, to close the other two powers. I forgot the name. I forgot how to say it in English. The legislation one especially, because they should be policing him. So whenever they say something, the judges say something he doesn't like, he tries to rail the people to say something bad. And here's the main issue: or cops are mostly Bolsonaro supporters, and there's a lot of people in the army who also are. So we don't know the effect that this is going to have in long term. But he tried to say that if we don't go back to paper ballots, there wouldn't be an election.
I think I remember you
And-
telling me this the last time we spoke.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because I'm 40, and I remember when I was a child, seeing news and people eating the ballots. They were eating the ballots or shoving the ballots in water to steal the election. This was common, having people invade the areas of where they counted and
And
losing
eating the
ballots.
ballots.
Yeah, during counting, they would eat the ballots. It's kind of crazy. I remember that when I was a child, seeing that and going like, really? It's nuts. It's a bad story for Brazil. No, we don't have to use paper anymore. Our ballots are awesome. They were created by the military, and people check them like every 4 years. They check every 2 years. They check everything. It's not connected to the internet. It's a completely safe. You can check it like all the way. The whole process, is you can audit it, and I don't know why he's doing that. He's doing that
But when
probably
is-
to see
When is the election year? When is the election
next
supposed to
year.
happen?
Next
Okay.
year, yeah. And we are having right-wing supporters saying they are going to have a big protest next September 7th, which is the Independence Day, important day here. So we are checking what's gonna happen.
And you're in Sao Paulo, right? You're like in the.
Yes,
In the.
yes.
I'm
from Rio de Janeiro, and I live in São Paulo.
Okay.
It's the biggest city, I think, probably in people and in an area. It's a big city.
Yeah, I remember talking about Sepulturas from Sao Paulo. So this is my.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta show you some of our satirical rock someday. I'll send you links.
I saw in Discord you were saying you're doing stand up or you're going. Were you doing
I
stand up?
do. I started doing stand up 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I think, 5 or 6 years ago, in English with a group of people from all around the world in Rio de Janeiro. And then I shifted to Portuguese, and I'm trying to go back now after the pandemic.
Have you been
And I
able to do
have,
that yet?
no, not yet. My second dose is tomorrow. I'm so happy.